Fashion industry, it's billions and billions of dollars made every year. How hard is it for a Black woman, an entrepreneur, to break through to the fashion industry? We're going to find out now on The Frequency. Welcome to another episode of The Frequency. I'm your host, Dee Barnes, and today we're talking about fashion. Now, we all know we love to purchase all kinds of items. There's all kinds of luxury items out there. There's smaller brands. But how hard is it for, entrepreneurs to break through? Because we know mostly that the fashion industry, is predominantly white. So it's really hard for, Black women, people of color, to break through and start their own line. Well, my guest today is doing just that. I'm bringing on Renee Wilson. Welcome to The Frequency.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so excited. Now, what I didn't mention was your brand, but I wanted you to introduce it first. But let's talk about how you decided to, start your own line.
Sure. So I'm a self-taught designer. I taught myself how to sew when I was around 15, 16 years old, and just kind of been sewing intermittently, designing, sketching off and on over the past couple of years. Wow. It wasn't until I had kind of reached a plateau at my corporate job where I was just ready to go off on my own. I had gone as far as I could go, and I just kind of wanted to explore other things as far as entrepreneurship. And I was still, designing here and there, but nothing official. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of at that point, I was like, you know what, let me try to take this to the next level, and see how far I can go. So, and this was like around 4.5, 5 years ago. And that's when I kind of decided, okay, let me make this an LLC. Let me me really, create a website and, put a line out and, get my social media going.
Wow. Okay, wait, we got to go through all those steps. So
Okay.
now I'm serious because this is important information. So now the name of your line, you decided to call it?
Yes, I called it Ehtyl B.
Ehtyl B.
Yes. So it's actually my daughter's name spelled backwards. Her name is Blythe.
Wow.
And she's actually one of the inspirations for my line. So that's why I decided to name it after her.
Oh, wow. That is beautiful. So she inspired you to do this line.
She did. She did. She is. I mean, she's 10 now, but I mean, since she was a toddler, her sense of style, just her overall attitude, how she just kind of puts things together, just kind of always a sense of inspiration for me. So, I mean, now that she's getting older, she's able to kind of help me a bit more in the design sense as far as helping me pick out patterns and, putting different patterns and different colors and things together. So she's pretty instrumental in helping me put a lot of my things out.
This is so incredible. I did not know it was inspired by your daughter. So like basically you both are building some generational wealth right now.
That's the plan.
You know what I mean? That is the plan. That is the plan. Now, tell me about your background, because I know that a lot of the pieces have an Afrocentric theme to them.
Yes, they do. So for the most part, the majority of the line, well, the whole line more or less is all Ankara, African textured clothing. I'm Liberian. I wasn't born there, but my family was born there. Mm-hmm. So the main reason also why I decided to go with clothing that were more Ankara, African centered, was because growing up, I was always around, all of these different patterns, growing up in Liberian, but we only saw the patterns and we only wore the patterns either in like formal ceremonies or just, any kind of formal events. It was never something that I really got to see in everyday wear. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to really be able to design the clothes, but add a modern twist to it so that we could wear these patterns in everyday wear and not just reserve it for our formal ceremonies.
Right. Okay. So you started this 4 years ago, you said. What was the process?
Well,
like, what was the beginning? Because, for example, your material, are you getting all the material? You're having it imported?
So it's kind of half and half. So some of it, there's this one Ghanaian woman who I purchased a lot of my material from, based out of Newark, New Jersey. She does get her material from Ghana. I also have some family in Liberia that as they're coming and going back and forth, they send me material as well, or I'll just, kind of request the material and, get it shipped over. And then also sometimes, depending on what kind of fabric I'm looking for, what kind of patterns, there's another person that I go to who's based out of Nigeria who will send me some fabric. So I kind of get it from, all over the West Africa.
Right. I love it. Do you travel back home?
I do not. Actually, I will be going there for the first time this February.
All right.
Coming up. I've tried to go multiple times, but every time I've tried to go, I was always thwarted by some sort of like pandemic. First, it was Ebola. Ebola kept me out for a couple years.
Wow, yeah, that's right.
That was the first time I tried going. And then more recently, COVID.
Yes.
So now this is my third shot trying to go. Well, not trying. I'm going in February.
That's right.
I got my visa. I got my ticket. So I'm
head out there. But yeah, are you bringing your daughter?
No, not this trip. Since it's my first time, I'm like, I wanted to kind of go and experience it myself first. I mean, I'm going to be going with my my mom and my sisters. My uncle lives out there, and it's his 60th birthday. So we're going to celebrate with him. But I figured, I'm going to go back again in the summer. And when I go back in the summer, then I'll bring my daughter, and I have a son as well. And, I'll bring them both with me.
Right. So what is going to inspire you on this trip to is it about not just experiencing, your uncle's party, but I'm talking about is bringing it back to your fashion line. Do you sketch like while you're on the road? Do you do you design fabrics yourself?
That's the one thing I have not gotten into that I do. That's like my one of my 2024 goals. And I was doing my whole vision board a couple of weeks ago. That was one of the things I had on my vision board. I want to design my own fabric. So that is something I will be getting into this upcoming year. But I do sketch a lot. So that is something that, and I mean, I sketch randomly, you know what I mean?
Right.
As I see things, as thoughts come, I just sketch. So that is one thing that I will be doing on this trip. Definitely a lot of sketching. There's a few designers out in Liberia that I am a fan of, whose shop I plan to visit while I'm out there also. So
do you want to name them?
Yeah, so one of the main ones, Monsieur Couture.
Monsieur Couture, okay.
Yeah, I love her line. It's like very nice line. If you ever get a chance to take a look at her on Instagram, but she has a lot of great items. So I'm really looking forward to going to her shop actually when I go out there, and I think I'll get some pieces myself, honestly. So
right. See, I'm really want to get into the difference between African couture and American couture, like the fashion, the differences. Because the industry is so hard for a woman of color to like break through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it seems like in Africa, there's so many designers and there's so many lines out. Not that we're all familiar with here, but I've seen, a lot of things online. I'm sure a lot of people know, and there's probably a bunch of people that I'm not naming, that are obvious choices, but I want to know, like, how did you plan to break through? So,
it's with me, it wasn't even so much a plan. Like I am the kind of,
because you just mentioned your vision board. So how important is it for someone to have a vision board? Let's get into that first.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I think that if you have a set goal, and if you have an idea of where you want to see yourself in a given, whether it be a given number of weeks, given number of months, given number of years, I think a vision board or just some sort of planning is important.
Right.
For me, it's an accountability thing to kind of keep you on track. Because I'm the kind, I feel like with creatives, oftentimes we get so caught up in just the doing and the creative aspect of the work that we forget the planning aspect of it.
You're absolutely right.
And it's hard because it's like you're all over the place. It's like you have this thought, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that simultaneously. So this is why, having a vision board or even just having some kind of written down plan, even if it's for something short term, just to keep you on track. And with me, because like I said, with me wanting to design my own patterns, fabrics. I want to do that for a while now, but I never really put it to paper and said, you know what, this is going to be the plan. This is what I'm going to do. This is the time frame I'm going to do it. And that's why, I did the whole vision board to just trying to, flush it out and just hold myself accountable to say, okay, now you're going to have this done in XYZ amount of time, just to, have some type of accountability for it.
I mean, I love that you said it's about accountability, because I never thought about it in that process. I'm a creative too, and I am all over the place when it comes to like projects. And then I had a vision board like a long time ago, but I haven't done it in years. And I'm thinking about it now for, 2024. And I think that keeping that in mind about accountability, you know what I mean? It holds you accountable to your goals. I think that's an excellent way to go into 2024. Oh man. So we're going to talk more about your plans for the future, about your line. I really want to get into what you first created. That's what we're going to talk about after the break. We'll be back on The Frequency.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now
We have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
An angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Back right here on The Frequency. I'm your host, Dee Barnes, and my guest, Renee Wilson, with her line, Ehtyl B. We're talking about fashion, and I want to get into the creative process of it because I'm so glad to have you on today just to talk about, number one, congratulations on even starting your own line. I think that's incredible. You've inspired me on some creative tips, and I hope the audience is inspired too to pursue their goals, especially what you were talking about in the last segment about having, a vision board or just a plan for your goals. I think that is so important. But I want to get into your creative process because this is a lot that you're taking on, like you said, from your corporate job to pursuing your passion. So how do you stay inspired, and what is your creative process?
So my creative process is really no process. To be honest with you.
Keep it real, because
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, because most creatives just it's just you get inspired and you just go for it.
It comes when it comes. I mean, I'll give you a case in point. So I do Fashion Week a lot. I do New York Fashion Week, Atlanta Fashion Week. I've done Philly Fashion Week. I've done Ankara Fest in LA, various different fashion weeks. And I always know about them well in advance. I know about them months in advance before I actually do them. To be completely honest, I never actually finish the line until maybe a week or two before the actual show. Wow. Sometimes it'll be a matter of days. And it's not even because I've been working on it for all of these months. No, meaning I will literally, Fashion Week is next weekend. And I would have started that week prior and then finished it like that Thursday or Friday.
Wow.
Because it's like when I can't, it's difficult for me to sew and sketch if I have no inspiration, if I don't know what I'm going to sew. Like I need to know what I'm going to do. And I mean, sometimes the inspiration comes early enough and I can get started. And then sometimes I will do it. I'll say I'll be showing 15 pieces and I'll be able to get started a little early, maybe 2 or 3 pieces. But then with the last, few pieces, I get a block. And when the inspiration comes, it comes. Sometimes it happens to come the weekend before the show, the week of the show. But I get it out. But I also produce my best work when I'm under pressure like that too.
I was just thinking that. I mean, a lot of artists too. I mean, I'm very similar. Like when you work well under pressure, so it gives you that. It gives you like that extra motivation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how do you go about getting involved in a fashion? So say like someone out there is an aspiring designer. How do you go about getting into these fashion shows?
So to start, when I first started, it was just me just kind of looking up, different shows that were coming out, whether it be New York Fashion Week or other local shows. I would just kind of look them up and, contact an organizer and find out how I could get into the show. Sometimes there's a fee involved. Sometimes there's no fee involved. Just depends on the show, depends on who's running it. And I would get involved that way. You do enough of the shows and you put yourself out there enough in terms of, your content, especially now in the social media age.
Right.
Then what started happening now is that now I'll get contacted by different shows, when the seasons, come up for various fashion weeks to be in these different shows. Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of, at first you do have to do your own due diligence and, find some places and just get yourself out there. But it's not enough to just kind of get yourself out there. You also have to make sure and on the social media end that you are, putting everything out there so folks know that you're there. And then later on, now they're contacting you to say, hey, can you be a part of this show? Okay,
so that brings me back to something you said earlier about how you set up your website, how you set up your social media. Walk us through the process of that. Because now, you decided I'm going to start a line. You had sketches, so you're getting material because you're doing all of this work yourself. It's not like you have a team.
So it's tough. And this is where, now my MBA background comes in. Because, MBA JD. So I went to law school. That's my back up. So
this is the corporate world you left. You jumped out of law. Ooh, I know your parents was like,
well, you're wrong. Now the law
you have Liberian parents. I know they was like, you're going to do what?
I know. Listen.
You're leaving law school to do what? Come on, you better tell us. Come on.
So the law is not gone. Now, I did go to law school. Law and fashion have, hand in hand been my two passions.
Okay.
So the law aspect is not gone. I just have to pass the bar exam. It's an extremely difficult exam. So I'm taking it again this upcoming July. And not if I pass, but when I pass.
You will pass.
Then I will be licensed. And yes, I will have a law firm and I will still be doing the fashion design.
Of course.
Those are my passions. So I don't feel like I have to choose.
That's
so I'm not
amazing.
going to.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Seton Hall Law.
Okay. All right.
So, with law, it was with me, the law was never, me wanting to go to law school to make money. It's more so as far as
what was the practice that you focused on?
So the practice is primarily public interest. So more or less focusing on, low income folks who are just unable to, afford services, whether it be with criminal, indictable offenses, non-indictable offenses, landlord tenants, folks dealing with Medicare issues. So that's kind of like my main focus on that.
That's beautiful. Okay. So somewhere in law school is when you decided, because not really, because you said it was always your passion.
Yeah, I was still doing both. Yeah.
You were going to do both anyway.
Law school, I was still doing fashion shows.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about now how you decided to go ahead and set up your company, your website, all of this. So, and I know that law degree helps you with this process, you know what I'm saying, with the paperwork, all the legal parts of it.
Exactly. No, it definitely does. Because, as far as being able to understand the paperwork that you need, because for one, it's like, okay, you want to start your business, so you need an LLC. So you create an LLC, but it's not enough to just create the LLC and get it registered in your state. You also want to take it a step further as far as trademarking, and you want to trademark your name. And a lot of people, when they create their LLC, they'll create it in their state and forget all about the trademarking aspect of it. But I'm like, if you anticipate, even if you don't anticipate your brand is going to be big, you want to be able to use that brand name. You want to be able to use anything that comes with it. And you don't want somebody else to take that name or take that brand and use it for something else. So trademark it, pay the extra couple $100 that it's going to take to get it trademarked. And now it's yours and now you own it. So, it's the LLC. You do your trademark, pay your fees for all of that. You get your tax ID number and all of that. Because again, there's taxes involved.
Right.
Then you take it the next step further. You want to get your bank account, which of course you're going to need your LLC registration and your tax ID to open up your bank account.
Right.
And then once you get all that paperwork out of the way, and that's, I mean, for me, I'm saying it's basic and simple, because that's, that I help as part of my, other business as a legal specialist. I help people do that stuff all the time. So it's like second nature to me to get it up and running. But then you want to think about, okay, now how am I going to market my business? Now, every business is not going to necessarily need a website. You may not need a whole website, depending on what your business is. You might just want a landing page, or maybe social media might just be sufficient. So,
what did you say, a landing page?
Yeah, just a landing page. So instead of having a whole website where it's like, there's the contact me and there's an about me and there's like a full out, page to purchase things on, you can just have a landing page that just has your business name, your contact information, and a link to your social media. And that's it. So it can be just that simple. Or like I said, depending on your business, you may not even need a website. It's like, don't spend unnecessary money if you don't need it. Don't just say, I'm going to get a website because it's good to have. You don't necessarily need one if you don't, depending on your business. Social media may be sufficient, Instagram or Twitter or X, whatever they call it now.
Exactly.
Or Facebook, those may be sufficient. With me, I felt that the website, because I'm selling clothing,
yes,
I definitely needed the website because I needed that marketplace aspect. But then at the same time, I also have, Facebook and Instagram, since they're all connected now. So I can advertise and also sell on Instagram, and, it's on the Facebook marketplace as well. So with me, all three of those aspects worked out well. And then, the website I created myself on Wix because, it was quick and simple. I'm a fashion designer, so I didn't need like this whole huge, interface or something. I just needed something simple, something nice, something presentable, something that wasn't too busy, shows the clothes, shows the prices, here's the cart, go and purchase,
Right. That's perfect. It's so hard for, entrepreneurs in general. And then when Black women are in business, the process can be, difficult. How did you keep yourself motivated?
The people that I surround myself with, I have this one of my girlfriends who is a serial entrepreneur. She labels herself as, and she really is a serial entrepreneur.
I love that.
She's actually one of the main people, I would say, that I kind of look to for inspiration, because she does a lot and she does a lot well. And it's not even just her, but I have a lot of other similar friends and, some of my sorority sisters that are kind of like in the same vein that are just like doing a lot of positive things.
Right.
And I just see what they're doing and I talk to them about it often, and that keeps me motivated. So, I cut out a lot of friendships and family that was just kind of holding me back, and just kind of stay in contact with people that are on the same path as I am.
Right.
And once I did that, that is like the driving force, honestly, behind my motivation.
See, that's perfect. So just to reiterate, so people out there, like they're starting a business, just surround yourself with people that inspire you, and, get rid of the distractions, basically.
Yes.
Get rid of the distractions. Okay. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about how you're getting your line off the ground and running. Back on the frequency.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
We talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to PO Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Back right here in the frequency. I'm your host, Dee Barnes, and my guest, Renee Wilson. We're talking about her line, Ehtyl B, her fashion line, Ehtyl B. Renee, join us, please. We left off of the last segment talking about what was motivating you and how you surround yourself with your sisters, but you mentioned sorority sisters. So tell me about this. Tell me where'd you pledge, and what college did you go to? I have to know, because I didn't have that HBCU, kind of background where I got to go to school and pledge with a lot of sorority sisters, but I know so many. I'm surrounded by them, and I love that. I feel a part of it, even though I'm on the outside. So tell me about it.
It's never too late to join. We got a lot of grad chapters. Yeah, no, we have grad chapters. So listen.
Okay, that's might be something I might.
Hey, no, I am. I'm a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
Okay.
So I've been a Zeta for 18 years now, and I became a Zeta at Rutgers University, New Brunswick.
Ooh, Rutgers! Oh my God, I almost went to Rutgers. I applied to Rutgers. Really? Yeah, because I grew up on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how was it there?
It was great. I liked it, honestly. I would not trade that experience for anything.
And you didn't study fashion in any of these schools?
I did not. I always knew that I was going to be a lawyer. That was I knew that was going to happen. So,
which is ironic, because I thought about law too, and I wanted to focus on entertainment law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I didn't pursue it. I jumped right into the entertainment part. I dove right in. You know what I mean? Woo, the water was good. But go ahead, tell me.
Yeah, no. So I majored in English because I knew going into law school, I was with some of the my teachers and professors. They pretty much told me, if you're going to go to law school, don't major in something like, criminal justice or political science.
Why? Why would they tell you that?
So because they said that law school is completely different from undergrad, completely different from grad, and you're just going to learn on a completely different level. Right. So it doesn't really matter too much what you major in. But I knew that I would be doing a lot of reading and a lot of writing. And I like reading and writing. So I was like, you know what? English is probably my best bet. Because they were all just encouraging me, saying, just major in something that you enjoy. Because once you get to law school, it's not going to matter if you even majored in criminal justice. And which they were right. Because once I got there, completely different. Like, it does not matter what the heck. Because
basically you're starting all, from scratch. Is that why?
Yeah, you're starting from scratch. And it's like the way that the professors teach you, it's just a completely different method of learning than what you get in undergrad. Then, and I went to grad school, got my MBA as well. And it was the same thing, different completely from what I learned in in grad school. So it's a completely different way of learning, completely different way of dissecting information, of reading. It's just all different. So it was like it really did not even matter at all. But
you never went to fashion school. You never everything was self-taught.
Everything was self-taught. The only I guess the only type of training, if I want to call it training, that I got was when I was in high school, my freshman year for a semester, my school was trying out these new, different programs and different classes. And one of the classes, like a little extracurricular class they brought on, was a fashion design class. For a semester. So they did have, but it was interesting because it was like this little old German woman
who was teaching the class. Somebody's grandma, they brought her in. Yes,
literally. And I mean, I will say, the most that she really helps me with was really more so with just the mechanics around the sewing machine, and the different types of sewing machine. Because she was old school, so it's like she was on the old school sewing machine.
I mean, speaking of the old school, I don't even think they teach. Remember home economics?
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, I know I'm dating myself, but
no, I had it as well.
I literally had home economics. They don't even teach that.
They don't even do that anymore.
I mean, and those were really life courses, you know what I mean? How to, mend your own clothes. I mean, that's something you needed, how to cook. These are like life things that they don't even teach anymore in school, which is like, but it's a different time. It's definitely a different time.
It is.
So I have to talk about no formal training. You're doing these sketches. How did you bring that to life? Like, how did you take your sketch and then, because that's a whole process. You gotta, you make the sketch, you pick the fabrics, you create a pattern. Like, how did you learn all of these things? I know you were self-taught, books, watching programs, inspiring designers. Which was it, or was it all of it?
It was honestly, it was a combination of all of it. Like I said, when I took that class in high school, one of the things that they did show us was how to use patterns.
Okay.
So that's patterns. That was the first thing, I would buy, a bunch of different patterns and kind of navigate my way through it that way. Things online that I saw, watching, TV, Project Runway. Loved Project Runway. That was my
movie. My favorite movie is Mahogany, Diana Ross.
Yes.
You know what I mean? As a designer, that inspired me back in the day. I never did anything with the fashion part, making it myself, but I love that movie.
No, it's awesome. So, but yeah, it was just a combination of all of that stuff. And with me, just, I naturally knew how to draw. I knew how to sketch. So I would have something in my mind. I would sketch it out. And then it got to the point where I would just draw my own patterns. Because I'm like, okay, well, I know what the garment looks like. I know what the pieces, because that's kind of how I do it. I sketch in pieces, which is weird. So I'll have the full sketch of the garment done, but then I do separate sketches where I'm sketching the separate pieces. And then those separate pieces I'm sketching then becomes my pattern that I then, put onto the fabric.
Right. So when you're doing a whole show, you're just making certain pieces for that show, but you're not thinking on creating it on a mass level, mass producing is what I'm trying to say.
Not all the time. It depends, because sometimes I'll create separate lines where I'll make, multiple pieces and I'll do, pop-up shops and, I'll sell them there. And then sometimes if I'm doing a show, and it really just depends on the pieces that are in the show, because some shows are a bit more specific than others in terms of what they're looking for. So if it's one of those shows where it's like, for instance, I did one show where it was like Afrofuturism, was the theme. So it's like the stuff that I did for that. That's not stuff that I would produce on a mass level, because it was just like a whole bunch of off the wall, crazy stuff. But then sometimes I'll just have, general shows where they're just like, okay, we're just looking for a standard, spring, summer line, or, fall, winter line, whatever. Then, depending on those garments, then I'll make more items of those and then kind of, do those and sell them at, pop-up shops that I may host or different events that I may vend at.
Right. So what are some of the challenges you've faced, in this process? Because I'm going back to thinking about the fashion industry as a whole and just all of the hurdles that, African Americans have to jump over just to be in that space. So I'm thinking like from the models and how they have to fight, racism, colorism, getting hired. How do you pick your models? And then, what backlash have you faced getting your line in a show because of the fact that it's, Afrocentric theme? Like, is it something that, give me the tea. Because I know you've had some, I know that there's been some like pushback, so to speak.
And not in too many shows. I mean, I have, which is great. I mean, I want to say that maybe in all the years I've been doing it, there's probably been maybe one or two shows where I did get, but it was interesting because it was kind of like preconceived backlash until they saw. And so, because knowing that I was an Afrocentric, type of designer, right, and I was the only one of my kind in that particular show. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I had my stuff online and I had my social media, whether or not they paid attention or saw it, I don't know. Right. But I think it was just that preconceived notion of, okay, she's this Afrocentric designer. And it's kind of like going back to when I was younger and, I would tell people I was African or Liberian, and the automatic thought of, my family, they live in huts and we walk around naked all day and ride zebras. You know what I mean? So kind of translating into the clothes, thinking, it's just going to be a whole bunch of head wraps and body wraps and stuff. And then I say preconceived because then that preconceived notion would kind of determine how they would decide to place me in the lineup. Wow. You know what I mean? Wow. So it's like, normally like to say the best designers will go toward the end. Right. But then they would try to, at least in one of the shows, try to put me as one of like the first two or three. Right. And I'm like, what the heck? So, I mean, it was what it was, but it wasn't until, like I said, preconceived, because then, I had I think I may have been like maybe the second designer that ended up going. But, it was very, very well received by the audience. And, even the organizers themselves were surprised because, again, they just are, assuming, they're not, looking at the background, looking at the website, looking at the clothes to see what I was going to actually produce. But like I said, there was only one or two instances where that happened. Normally actually I get and a lot of the times I am one of the only designers of my kind in a lot of these shows. And I think the fact that
you mean Black designer, or do you mean a designer with the
well, sometimes both. Okay. Sometimes both. Not all the time, depending on where I am, but normally if it's if there's other Black designers, and lately there have been a lot of other Black designers, I'll be one of the only ones, if not the only one. 9 times out of 10, I'm the only one that has like the Afro, centric inspired clothing. But then, I add the twist on it because I have the, Ankara clothes, but a lot of times I'll pair it with things.
What did you call it?
Ankara.
What is Ankara?
So Ankara is the actual name of like the type of fabric. So it's, people will normally refer to it as, African fabric, but, it's Ankara. So, a lot of times I'll pair it with, denim, or I'll pair it with like a houndstooth or like a camo print or something. Wow. Yeah. I sometimes like to just kind of, pair it with different, more modern fabrics. But, and I think just kind of adding that twist, because again, when people think African, inspired clothing, they're just thinking about the traditional, African clothes. So I try to add, that modern twist to it. And then it ends up, being a nice surprise to the audience and the organizers.
I love it. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about what your goal is for your brand and how would you describe your brand? Like, what is your theme? What is the essence of your brand? We'll be back on The Frequency.
Hi, Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to PO Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Back right here on The Frequency, we are talking about fashion, in particular, a line called Ehtyl B with my guest, Renee Wilson. Please join us, Renee. Woo, man, this is so inspiring. Everything you've been telling me, like, I'm just like loving your whole process. The fact that, you know, you had this concept and you took it from, you know, the page to like out into the real world. I'm loving it. And I'm learning some things. So I hope the audience is too. How would you describe your brand? Like, what do you want people to know about Ehtyl B?
So I want them to know that it really is a very versatile brand. The fact that it's, you know, African centered or, you know, Ankara inspired, shouldn't limit people to think that it's just for Black men, just for Black women. Like, right. It really can be worn by any and everyone, and it has been global. Worn. Yeah, right. Global. It's you know, I want people to really think of it as a global type of brand. Can be worn by anyone. Like it's very versatile. It's very fun. It's inclusive. Right. You know, there's a lot of innovation and creativity within the brand, within the designs. And then it still has that sense of, you know, my cultural identity to it.
I love it. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the pieces now. Okay, so people, how do you backstock? You're like, or do people order like special order? Like when someone places the order, then you make the piece, or do you have other pieces in stock?
No, generally everything. Well, yeah, actually, most of my things are custom made to order. There are a few things, very few pieces that I do have, you know, in stock in bulk. But for the most part, you know, when you place the order, you are getting, you know, it custom made, you know, for you then and there.
Oh, I love that. So it makes great gifts too. Right. I hope that holiday season was good to you. Right. I love that. Okay. So where are you taking your brand? What's the future for your brand?
The future, I would love to see my brand in stores. You know, whether it be in department stores, whether it be in boutiques. Because again, it's not necessarily, you know, just exclusive. I don't want it to be one of those brands where it's just like, oh, you know, it's so exclusive and, you know, you can only get it here on this site and that's it. You know what I mean? I really want to open it up to any and everyone. So I really would like it to be available on, you know, a mass level. And that's why I say, you know, someone's department store, you know, any department store at this point. But, you know. So
how about editorials? Like, have you placed your items in like magazines? Has that been like receptive to you? Like, especially, Black owned media. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
I haven't seen your pieces that have been in Essence, have they been in, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, that is another goal of mine. I mean, I've had it in some, smaller scale, local publications, but not, any larger scale publications.
Right.
So that is something too that is, that I would like to see happen.
I mean, and even beyond that, I mean, I named, of course, my favorites, but like a Vogue, even, you know what I mean?
No, exactly. Yeah, no, and that would be a dream. Honestly, that would be great.
Right.
So that's always one of the big goals to get out there and like those mass publications on billboards or what have you. But
how about movies, videos, commercials, TV? Like, have you tried that avenue too, like to place it out there?
I have not. That is something that, again, you're speaking to my vision board.
I love it. I mean, you've inspired me to really work on, seriously take that into consideration, because
it helps, but no, it definitely helps. But no, that was something else that I did have on my vision board. Because this year and going forward, my overall intent was to just be a lot more intentional of what I would be participating in, what I would be putting out, and how I would drive my brands. And that was actually one of the things, just kind of being more purposeful in terms of seeking out ways that I can get my garments on different shows or movies or in the hands of certain stylists, because with a lot of these things, it's really comes down to who you know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm just thinking about the stylist part, because they could be shown on some red carpet somewhere. Exactly. Be wearing it, you know what I mean? And that would just like open the door to you too.
No, for sure, yeah, and that's usually how it starts with a lot of these designers. Like, it's really just you get one celebrity to wear your garments and post it, and then now it's like you got more of a buzz going, and then more folks are interested.
Right. So, with all of that being said, and your brand, what are your goals for 2024? I know we just touched on a little bit, but where would you like to see it in 2024?
In 2024, I would like to kind of see my brand as far as an overall for this year, a lot further now, having it have, I guess, more traction now than it did this past year. So, I mean, a lot of that comes with, me actively putting out more designs. Because I know that's one thing that I did not do enough of this year. So this upcoming year, putting out more designs and just promoting myself more. Because I know that's another thing because I mean, the whole point of my vision board was to look at what I have been lacking in and look at where I faltered, look at what my strengths were, look at what SWOT analysis, go back to my MBA, right? I just literally looked at my whole SWOT analysis as it relates to my brand. And that's kind of what I focus my vision board on. So 2024, I see myself turning all of those threats into opportunities. Turning all of those weaknesses into strengths.
I love that. I was going to ask you what advice would you give to inspiring designers, but that right there says it all. You know what I mean? I'm excited for you. And I would love to wear some of your pieces. I would love to wear some of your pieces. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm going somewhere. I would be so honored to wear something of yours, just to have it out there. You know what I mean? Because I love all of your things. And I think you're absolutely right. It is something that can be global, and you can pair it with other things. It doesn't necessarily have to be the full, ensemble. So I'm definitely interested in that. And I hope that, your brand does, There it is. Some of the pieces I'm looking at right now. It's amazing. I'm hoping that it does go to that next level for you in 2024 because it's amazing. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that you took your creative passion and really cemented it and made it, you know, come to life. You know what I mean? That's inspiring. That's that Black girl magic right there. It's really, really inspiring. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. I mean, I there's like, I don't even know what else to cover on it because we've done the whole process. I mean, especially from your inspiration of like, from the beginning to where you're taking it, how far you're taking it this year to the next year. And I hope that inspiring designers out there are listening to this and like taking notes on the creative process because it is, you know, it is. You made it seem too like even with the struggles for, you know, most Black designers in the industry, you made it seem like it's not as bad as it seems. You know what I mean? Because I was expecting to hear like a lot of struggle for you, but you know, it just seems that you've managed to like just walk on through that, push those doors open.
I mean, you got to. Sometimes you got to force your way in through there. You know what I mean? I think a lot of it is also just your mentality. You know,
that's true.
What some people may perceive as a struggle, with me, I see it as an opportunity.
Wow!
And I find a way to capitalize on it. So
I love that. No, that's. I mean, I'm taking that into 2024 because you're absolutely right. I mean, you know, because we all face a lot of challenges and we all face a lot of struggles, but to see it as an opportunity to make something of it, I think that is important. And you're absolutely right. And I think that too, that inspires you to create more, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's just changing your mindset. With me, I always say that there's no such thing as no. You know, so
I mean, because I've heard in this industry, you hear a lot of no's,
and you do. But you know what? I am, and I tell this to my clients on the paralegal end. I'm like the queen of loopholes because I'm always finding a loophole for my clients for certain things. Okay. So I mean, as a legal mind, it's like that's what you do. You got to find loopholes. Right. So I'm like, that's why I said there's no such thing as no. You know, there's always a way around it, a legal way, but there's always a way. So you just have to be creative and find the way and just find your path and find where you can fit in. And that's with the whole fashion design. That's pretty much what I've been doing. I've just been finding my path and creating a way for me to fit in there.
Yes. Well, you are definitely creating a way. Ehtyl B, I love in the line. You guys, we're going to put up the website again. You've got to go on and got to order, get your custom order out there. And that's all I can. I mean, I can't think of anything else to cover because it is like, I mean, I'm so loving this. I'm so loving. So when's your next fashion show?
My next show, I am not sure yet. I've had a few people contact me about doing some shows in the fall. Mm-hmm. I'm not in the fall. I'm sorry, in the spring. We just finished right. This upcoming spring, but I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do, which ones I'm going to do, because I mean, like I said before, I'm taking the bar exam in July, and it's going to be my last time taking the bar exam. So I want to definitely put the focus that I need to put on that. Not to say that I'm not going to do any shows. I'm just, again, trying to be very purposeful in what I do.
Right.
You know.
But even if you don't do the shows, you're still going to create a line.
Oh yeah, I'm going to still create a line regardless. Yeah. So even if I don't do, don't do anything this spring, I'm going to still, because again, I got to keep working. You know what I mean? So
you do, and you never know where those pieces might land. You know what I mean? Even if you don't do the show, there's always like the editorial. There's always like that one celebrity that will wear it.
Exactly.
So you got to have some pieces on deck.
No, you do. Right? I mean, I recently had a stylist contact me about it's a up and coming rapper. Well, she's not up and coming rapper. I think she's, but anyway, she's she was doing a music video. And she wanted some pieces about 2 weeks ago. So I created some pieces and sent it out to her. So, I mean, and then again, just for instance, like those, it's like, you just never know. So I'm like,
never know. All right. So give an aspiring designer out there one final like creative advice.
Final creative advice, I would say to stay true to yourself. Don't
Perfect.
let people dictate who you are or what you should do. Follow your own path and just stay true to yourself.
Yes, and I'm going to take that. There's no such thing as no, because I love that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I absolutely love that. And vision boards for 2024 because it gives you accountability.
Yes,
Those
definitely.
Things that I'm taking from you. Great advice. Thank you so much for coming on The Frequency and sharing your story. You know what I mean? We had your website up there, so I hope, that brings in some more business for you. I'm definitely getting ready to order some pieces and, thinking about trying to help, place your things in some magazines. That would be amazing. You know
Definitely.
what I mean?
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. I really appreciate you. And congratulations, because this is definitely, an accomplishment, and nobody's giving you your flowers. I'm definitely giving you your virtual flowers right now because you deserve all of them.
Thank you.
It's an amazing line, and I love that it's inspired by your daughter, and you're building generational wealth, with your family. So thank you so much. Have fun on your trip. I love it. When you're ready for your next line, when your show's coming up, please come back on and, share with us, or maybe we can even, live stream your show.
Awesome. No, I definitely will.
That would be amazing, right?
Yes, for sure.
All right. Thank you, Renee Wilson. The line is called Ehtyl B. I think we're going to put up the website again, Ehtyl B, right there. Go check it out, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Frequency, and I hope you learned something. This is great. You know what I mean? We love fashion. We love talking to our guests. And I hope you took away some good points today, because I did. All right. We'll check you out on the next episode. Thank you. Peace.